I know we're in the middle of football season. We're in the middle of hockey season. But I had to, when I saw this story, it's not just the story. It's not just that about the signing. It's about everything around it that is driving me up a freaking wall. After signing reliever Tanner Scott to a 4-year deal worth $72 million, I, along with a lot of other people that love baseball, we've had enough of the LA Dodgers this offseason. So let's get this straight. A year after going to get Shohei Ohtani and winning the World Series, they get arguably the best available starting pitcher internationally in Roki Sasaki, domestically in Blake Snell, arguably the best reliever in Scott. You re-sign Teoscar Hernandez. You also bring in outfielder Michael Conforto. You get Korean infielder Hae-Sung Kim. I mean, what are we even doing at this point? And the majority of these guys, dating back to Ohtani, are deferring a ton of this money. So it's being spread out long after their playing days. Thank you very much, Bobby Bonilla. And it's funny how the MLB and people that don't have an issue with this, how they're spinning it, saying things like, don't be mad at the Dodgers. Make some noise and force your own owners to spend more. I saw that last night from Cam Maben, and I really like Cameron Maben. Had a heck of a career. I love some of the things that he does now when it comes to the media and on social media. I like how he's trying to promote the game. But Cam, my guy, are you freaking kidding me? Honestly? Like, we've been yelling and screaming and sending freaking smoke signals, practically begging Stu Sternberg to spend more money. You think we're ever getting a $150 million payroll? 140, 130? We got almost 100 last year, and he's telling us that I'm taking a loss on my P&L statement. Like, people that are having trouble putting food on the table and keeping a roof over their heads. Yeah, that really resonates with them. It doesn't matter. These owners aren't going to spend regardless of what the fan base says. Okay? And it's not just about Tampa. Go tell fans in Cleveland to make more noise. You think they love seeing Francisco Lindor get traded to the Mets? They love that. How about Pittsburgh? They're scared as hell of losing a guy like Paul Skeens. What a crappy feeling as a baseball fan, knowing that these guys, these homegrown guys, you draft them, you develop them, you see them in the minor leagues, you see them as rookies, you see them grow, and then eventually it's like you can't afford them. They're going to get rid of them eventually. What an awful feeling. Part of the reason why you love sports and you love these teams is because you want to invest in them. It's not just your money. You invest your time. You invest your energy. You go to autograph signings. You show up early to these games. You stay later to these games. You follow these guys' lives on social medias. You support their charities, right? Like, there's just so many different things that go into this. But yeah, be more vocal, because that's going to change the mind of the owners. That's no way. No freaking way. Don't patronize those fans. My goodness. It's bullshit, man. It's not real. It's not true. This is not on the fans. Don't give me that. And it's funny, because if this was the Yankees, way more people would be losing their freaking minds. But there's like an East Coast bias thing when it's like, the Dodgers are doing it. It's kind of like an out of sight, out of mind type of thing. Most of these guys are going to be playing when, you're fast asleep anyway. Don't believe me? Look into Mets owner Steve Cohen, who, ever since he's taken over, has been more than willing to go into the hundreds of millions when it comes to the payroll to help his team. And when he does that, what does the team do? Or excuse me, what does the league do? The league steps in to levy a quote-unquote Cohen tax. And even he's okay with it, because it's like, all right, hey, I'm willing to spend my money. I'm willing to pay the luxury tax, the penalty. Okay, but I want to make sure that there's a competitive balance. And if this is what you guys think is right, fine. But crickets from the league when this happens. Cohen's not happy with it. Just think about it, man. Like, Shohei's making $2 million until he's 39, and then $68 million per year until he's 48. Sounds perfect, right? Sounds logical. Sounds like, yeah, it's awesome. A lot of these other teams out there can really commit to be able to spend that type of money in future years, to be able to spend $68 million on a guy that won't even be playing for the team. Go look at the freaking payrolls of some of these teams the last couple of years. Ridiculous. This sport is dying. It is dying. You're trying to make it more fun and appealing and speeding the game up and making it so the regular season games are entertaining and meaningful. This does the complete opposite. It does. I'm not even saying that this is going to make like the Dodgers an unstoppable force, because we know baseball is different. It's not like the team that spends the most money is going to win every year. But again, how does this grow the game? It's ironic with all this money being thrown around that it actually cheapens the product. Don't go out to see your favorite team Wednesday night because your favorite player might be gone. He might be an LA Dodger, and he'll be playing in the third inning when you're on your freaking fourth dream of the night. Baseball just can't seem to get out of its own way. It's awful. It's stupid. Like, this kind of thing is ridiculous. This isn't, all right, a team that hasn't won a Super Bowl or hasn't won a World Series, or hasn't won a championship, just wants to make this big splash in free agency. And then the next couple of years, it's like, all right, you take a step back and you don't. This is just spending upon spending upon spending. This is the rich getting richer. You want to talk about having a salary cap? Fine. You want to talk about having a salary floor? Even better. But there's got to be a way where that these teams are spending money in a way where it's not just something that they're being, that they have to take care of more of what they're doing right now, right? They're spending all this money on Shohei Ohtani, and they're writing a check and saying, like, we'll pay for this later. This isn't layaway. Let's get rid of layaway in the major leagues. The Chris Davis contract, the Bobby Bonilla contract, it was cute. It's fun to joke about. Happy Bobby Bonilla Day. That's great. But this thing cheapens the product. Nobody wants to see this. And I'm just blown away that people don't care. Because I guarantee you, these same people, a lot of the same people back in 2009, when the Yankees went out and signed CC Sabathia and Mark Teixeira and AJ Burnett, those same people were having a freaking cow. But now, since it's the Dodgers, it's not that big of a deal. Go tell your owner to spend more money. Like, they're going to listen to us. Get freaking real. This is another thing where baseball doesn't know how to get out of its own way. Why give people a reason to not consume your product? You are struggling for your viewership. You're struggling for consistent attendance. You're struggling for that young audience. You're trying to speed up the game so people can consume it better. You're helping it. But are you really getting down to the core issues that people have with baseball? Because nobody complains about how long a football game is. People don't love football because, oh, it's quick, it's in and out. No, they don't. People like football because it's an entertaining product. People like football because there's people from all walks of life that play it. You can get a guy from the deep country playing the offensive line and a kid from the inner city playing wideout. And they can get together and they can win Super Bowls. There's a relatability factor to it. There's a toughness factor to it. There's the ability to play inside, outside, weather. Obviously, it's on every game is on a major television network, so that helps too. But I don't think that's part of the reason why people don't like baseball. Part of the reason why they, wish it could be a little bit more consuming or a little bit more palatable, yes, to speed it up. But when you have all of these stars going out west, there's no excitement for MLB free agency. like there is for NFL free agency. There's no excitement for the MLB draft than there is for the NFL draft. And I know that's because some of those players go to the minor leagues and you may not see them for a couple years, but why not focus on that? Why not focus on trying to build these stars when they're younger? Part of the reason why you are invested in guys like Tom Brady is because he got drafted in the 6th round, number 199 overall. But he got drafted by the New England Patriots behind Drew Bledsoe and then came in and never gave up the job. But he was a New England guy. Don't tell me this thing doesn't matter for guys in Boston. He was a New England Patriot. Then at the end of the career, hey, you did everything you could to bring 6 freaking Super Bowls to the Patriots. You look at Kobe Bryant. You look at Derek Jeter. You look at these teams and these fan bases and these communities that invest in these athletes. It's important to them. So you have situations like this. I just don't get it. I don't get how something like this doesn't raise a red flag to people. I've always been a person that has said, I'm okay with the no salary cap in baseball. Go out there, spend the money that you want. And if you spend over a certain amount and you're willing to pay the luxury tax, like we see from teams like, the Dodgers are obviously paying it, but if you see it from a team like the Mets, hey, more power to you. But the fact that these guys have found a loophole to defer this money. I mean, it's one thing to defer a Bobby Bonilla. It's one thing to defer Shohei Ohtani. You're deferring money for Tanner Scott? Really? I mean, you just look, and I go to Spotrac a lot. They do such a great job. And you just look at Shohei Ohtani's deal. It's a 10-year deal, $700 million, and $2 million from 2024 to 2033. And then starting in 2034, when he's 39 years old, he gets paid $68 million until he's 48 years old in the year 2043. All right. That's him. Let's look up a guy like Tanner Scott, a relief pitcher. Okay. $21 million deferred. Details to be determined. So we know his annual salary is not going to be $18 million a year if he has $21 million deferred. They found a loophole, and the major league officials just kind of sit on their hands like it's no big deal. Like, yeah, people love this. People love to see Blake Snell go out there. Blake Snell has done such a great job of thwarting the Dodgers the last couple of years as member of the Pirates and the San Francisco Giants. Now he joins up with them. Look at their rotation. Ohtani, Sasaki, Yamamoto, Blake Snell, and Tyler Glasnow. That's great. It's awesome. How many of those guys did they draft and develop? Oh, that's right. None. International free agency, hey, it is what it is, right? They go out and sign Yamamoto last year. They get Sasaki this year. There's got to be a cap on something. Major League Baseball has to figure it out. There's just no way this is good for the game. I would have loved to see Sasaki go to like Toronto. Find ways where you can build up the product in other cities and get people to invest. Because if not, you're going to have situations like this. Don't give people reasons to turn off your product. That's what you're doing right now. It's not fun. It's not fun. And think about being a Rays fan. You're not in on players like this. And for all the people that'll say, well, they were in on this guy, they were in on that guy, I don't want to hear anything about that. You can also send a direct message to a famous person on Instagram. Doesn't mean you're having a conversation with them. So spare me the details of the Rays were in on Juan Soto, the Rays were in on Sasaki. That's fine. Until they sign one of those guys, until they sign a Bryce Harper, until they sign a Freddie Freeman or sign one of the other high-profile free agents, spare me that discussion and spare me that talk. Because they could say whatever they want. Ohtani signed for $700 million. If you say the Rays offered him a deal worth $500, what does that matter? They're not going to call his bluff. He's not going to sign that deal. He wasn't signing for anything less than $6 million. So that makes you feel better, then that's your prerogative. But you can believe that. I'm not believing that shit. Not for 1 minute.